Hi, this is your host, Alicia G. Smith, Talk the Talk, Walk the Walk talk show. I am so glad that you guys tuned in today. And we have an amazing special guest, a phenomenal young man. He is very well known in our Cobb County community. And he's something that he's not telling me though. He is also known to the world. And further ado, Mr. Justin Patton.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
I'm happy that you're here.
I'm happy to be here.
Awesome.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Can you tell the audience who is Justin Patton?
Justin Patton is the grandson of Orly Patton, the son of Monica Patton Taylor, son of Michael Taylor. I am a poet, speaker, author, host, spoken word artist, friend, your brother.
All right.
So yeah.
You wear many hats.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, I love your hat.
Thank you.
That hat is it's a conversation piece. Can you tell me about your hat that you're wearing today? I just had to ask about that hat.
Sure, yeah. So it's actually a handmade crown from one of my brothers down in Atlanta named Olu.
Okay.
Yeah, so he makes handmade crowns, and so
Awesome.
so he always hooks me up with a couple, and people always ask me about it. So it's kind of marketing for him as well. So.
Awesome. That is very, very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
And right now we're going to go forth and we're going to give some credit to the people that underwrote this, our underwriters, Meta Cafe. It is a cafe that is a vegan cafe.
Okay.
A young lady started. She's at the age of 20. And it's a cafe that is for people who may have alternative eating.
Okay.
The normal vegan
Yes.
lifestyle.
Yes.
And you need to look her up. She's on Instagram and it's Meta Cafe. Mr. Justin, can you please tell me some of the great things that you're doing here in Cobb County?
So the things I'm doing in Cobb County. So I partner with a nonprofit called Cool Kids Committee.
Cool Kids.
And where the point of the organization is to help underserved kids and help be the resource in their schools. So we're in Marietta Middle, Marietta High Schools primarily.
Yeah.
But we also get out and do things in the community as well as outside of the school. So for instance, about a month ago, we had a forum in one of the barbershops here in Cobb County.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a group of Marietta police, some Cobb County officers,
Mm-hmm.
some sheriffs, and we had them on one side, and we had people in the community on one side, and we just came together to have a conversation to talk about how we can best help each other work together.
Yes.
Because of course we know about the cops and Black people's relationship.
Yes.
And the turbidity that's caused all around the world. So
yes.
we can't save the world, but it can start with at least our community. So that's what we're doing.
Saving somebody.
Yes.
And this is so cool. I like that organization. I like that name too. I'm doing a series on mental illness.
Okay.
We talked a little bit about that earlier on. And the thing about mental illness, as I was talking on the other episode, is this is something that has rocked the Black community.
Yes.
Heavily. Back in the 70s, probably early on, it was not talked about. It was heard of, but it wasn't talked about in our communities. It was taboo.
Yes.
So right now, a lot of us is being accepted. We're embracing people who happen to have mental illness. And I'm an advocate for mental illness.
Yes.
And I'm thanking God that right now in this particular time that we are coming together as a community. We're going forth getting resources for people who may not have the resources in their community.
Absolutely.
I told a lot of people that it is something that I will not get tired of talking about.
Yes.
Because we cannot no longer sweep it underneath the rug.
Absolutely.
Like we've been doing.
Absolutely.
And somebody somewhere know of an individual or have a family member or have a close friend
or went through it ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing about it is, it's best for us to embrace
Yes.
our people
Yes,
who are
absolutely.
suffering from this, because I am tired of seeing the police officers coming into our communities trying to go for to help someone who have had a crisis, who have
Yes.
had a terrible meltdown. They're normal. And like I know, you've seen it too. The officers come into our community, they're not trained. They don't have a clue of how to go forth to cater to a person who have mental illness. And it escalates.
Yes.
And then unfortunately, someone dies
Yes.
by the gun of the officer.
Yes. And it's always unfortunate.
Always.
But one of the things we talked about in our forum was not only making sure we do our part as
Yes.
far as when we do feel, if we're pulled over for something that we feel like we were profiled or wrongfully charged with something or something like that, the first step is to report that officer to whatever your local police office is.
Yes.
Is to call them and report it, because at least they have to document it, and then if something else comes up, you can see, oh, okay, this person has a record of this.
Yes.
But also one of the things I would like to see is the police that serve a particular area also live in that area, because I feel like that would change things if people actually knew the faces that they saw on a daily basis. But I also want to add to that too, for us as a people to come together and treat ourselves better.
Amen.
Because I don't think it's really going to change until we change the way we see each other.
That's right.
Treating my sisters like my sisters.
That's right.
Treating my brothers like my brothers.
Yes. Now, I highly agree with you on that. That's very well said. I can't add nothing to that, because that you said it. And what it boils down to is respect.
Respect.
That's what it boils down to.
Yes.
And you're right. If we treat ourselves with respect amongst our culture alone,
right,
other people in other cultures will treat us the same way
right,
as we're treating our brothers and sisters.
Right.
But when we show a different side, it's like, okay, well, wow, this is how they doing each other.
Exactly.
And then there's no level of respect,
exactly,
accountability. And I like the fact that the officers that serves the community lives in that community.
Yes.
And they will come, and the gap will be bridging the gap.
Absolutely.
Where there's communication.
Absolutely.
There's a bond. The children will get to know who the officers is in the community.
Right.
Not only just the children, but adults. They're having a relationship that
right,
cannot be broken.
Right.
So everybody know who the officers are.
Exactly.
And the officers know who the people are.
And that's one thing that I feel like we can do a better job of, is at least knowing. At least I know here in Cobb County PD they do a fair amount of community work to try to get out and meet people and partner with different organizations to make themselves be seen, right, and just to be a part of the community. But and I'm not saying that's going to change the world, but
right.
It would also help us to at least know the faces and be familiar, know who our local officials are, so that we can call them. And if we see them out, we can see them, or just knowing like when a city hall meeting is. Just stuff like that. Just getting involved more ourselves.
Involved. You're absolutely right. And everything ties in.
Right.
I'm doing the mental health series, but everything ties in.
Yes.
When the people know who you are in your community, it makes everything a little lighter.
It does. I
won't say it makes everything better, because we know everything cannot just get better overnight.
Right.
It takes time, and it's a process.
Absolutely.
But however, somebody's building a relationship with our city officials.
Yep.
That's a start.
It's a start. It's a start.
That's a start. That is a start that I feel like that could bridge the gap of the discommunication that we have in our community.
It absolutely helps.
There's questions that can be answered.
Right.
Q&A, questions and answers, that our people can say, hey, well, tell me about this and blah, 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 and so forth and so on.
Absolutely.
You know, they had a program here in Cobb County. It was Donuts with Cops.
Okay, yeah.
Several years back, and I had attended that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had great positive feedback from that. I would like to see that again, to bring that back. And hopefully,
Yeah, that would be good.
I'll be working on that.
Okay.
Because that's needed.
Yes.
In our community.
Absolutely.
And also, you know, since we're on mental illness, I'm an advocate. And the thing about the mental illness population, great people. Great people. I mean, it's just that, just labeled
right.
the wrong way.
Right.
It's bad when someone put a label on your back. And, you know, that's just like someone who is racially profiled. You look like the subject, but I am not.
Yes.
And it's kind of token with the mental illness community, they're great people. Just
right.
need some help.
Right.
Need to be able to have access to resources.
Exactly.
To go forth to, you know, get some things situated.
Exactly.
And if we can come together and bridge that gap to stop, I would say, that population from being a risk.
Absolutely.
Of being a target, of being slaughtered in the streets.
Absolutely.
Because they had a crisis.
Right.
I want to see more resources.
Yes.
I want to see more dialogue in our community with the officers and city officials to come up with a strategy, and people in our community coming to the table talking about this, because you know, like I know, Justin, it's been too many times, time after time, somebody got gunned down because the situation escalated.
Right.
And then after the facts, not before the facts, after the facts, you know, I'm so sorry they had mental illness.
Right.
Gee whiz, man, this man was, man, why did this brother, why did this sister have to lose their life?
Right.
If someone would have been trained to handle the situation where it wouldn't have been escalated.
And it's unfortunate. It really is unfortunate. And that's why we all, especially for the ones who vote and people, it takes more than just going to a ballot a couple years. We have to stay engaged. We have to stay engaged because the change is going to come from us. I mean, we've seen their solutions. They don't seem like they've been working for the last 400 years to me. Even though, I mean, I'm only 33. I haven't seen them working in my lifetime. So I feel like the change is going to have to come from us. And I feel like I see it gradually. I see more conversations happening, especially in regards to the mental health piece. I see a lot more talk among at least my friends in my circle, and just among more Black people in our community. I'm seeing it more, but that's also one of the things that we try to do with the poetry show that I put on in Marietta. It's called Soul Therapy every fourth Friday. But more than just creating a show to people come out and have a good time. You'll have a good time. But we also wanted to create a safe space for people to come and share their emotions and share what they're feeling through poetry, because that is therapy for a lot of people.
Yes, it is.
And so we want to show that poetry is more than just, oh, roses are red and the violets are blue. Like it's really something real that people feel, and it's a way that we can deal with a practical way that we can deal with our emotions and express them.
Absolutely.
And identify them.
I highly agree with you on that, Justin. Justin, you know, as I was looking at your stuff, it's awesome.
Thank you.
You're deep.
Thank you.
Could you give our audience who's watching today, you said soul therapy.
Yes.
I love that. And when I hear poetry, and especially spoken word, from someone that's original and that's really, really in tune, it is therapy.
Yes.
It is therapy for the soul.
Yes.
For the mind, for the body.
Yes, absolutely.
It takes you to another place.
It does. It does.
Yes, it does. If you could set the atmosphere right now for some listeners.
Okay. So I'll keep it along the things we discuss here. just to let people know that they have more power than they think they have. So.
Yes. And this is spoken word
yes.
for someone that may not know.
Yes, this is spoken word poetry, which is poetry meant to be spoken aloud and performed.
Yes.
So I'm going to sit here. I don't know how much performance is in that, but you get the point.
That's all right.
Okay. In the land of opportunity, it comes with great satisfaction to turn your Social Security identity into simply a business transaction. Profits over people, and anything less is just an infraction. But until we realize where the power lies, greed versus basic need is forever clashing. And that's why the power is not in Washington or with the politicians. The power is not on that balance sheet where tax money goes missing. The power is not with the 1% or those we elect to represent. The power is not with the IRS or everywhere else our bills get sent. The power is not in corporate media, where they create reality and not report it. Issues hidden from citizens, keeping minds of the masses distorted. The power is not in nuclear weapons, coercing us into wars. Bombs tear down cities, but spirits can't be destroyed. The power is not with bankers who practice predatory lending to continue the inequalities, following a policy that collapses the economy, committing white-collar crimes, and they ain't been charged yet. Pardon banks for phony loans, but won't forgive my student debt yet. What? But that's why the power is not in a degree where Sally Mae is holding the key, lend you all the tuition you need, but want it back times 20. The power is not in pharmaceuticals, those we let control our health, preying on our own insecurities for their own personal wealth. The power is not in a flag. The power is not in a badge. The power is not in a black robe with a gavel. The power is not cocked, aim, loaded in a barrel. The power is not in that set you claim. The power is not in fame. The power is not living in a bottle or in them drugs you misuse. The power is not with celebrities and athletes you expect to speak on social issues. The power is in the people. The power is in the people. The power is in the people. The power is in the hands of each of us individuals, the people.
Wow. Oh, wow. Oh, my God. That right there needs a standing ovation.
Thank you.
You said a lot in
Yes.
such a little time.
Yes.
And I heard every word. Stuff that is relevant. Stuff that we're dealing with now.
Yes.
On all levels.
Yes.
Oh my God. Can you tell somebody where could they find you? Those that want to come out and listen to you.
Sure. So you can find me.
They want to book you.
Yes, you can find me all social media at I am Justin Patton. You can go to the website iamjustinpatton.com. You can find the book there. You can find where the shows are going to be. The show that we spoke of in Marietta, Soul Therapy,
yes.
every fourth Friday at Good Acting Studio. And for all my other dates, you can just go check my social media. You'll see all the flyers posted and all the dates on there. So
awesome. Oh my God. Now, Justin, you've written a book.
Yes.
And the name of the book is?
Poetry for the Hopefully.
Tell us just a little bit about that book.
So Poetry for the Hopefully is my first collection of poems, and it's broken up into 3 parts. Irony for the Hopefully, which is kind of like funny poems.
Mm-hmm.
Reality for the Hopefully, which is more poems that deal with real issues. And then Love for Everyone is the last section, and those are love poems.
Oh, wow.
But not just like romantic love, self-love,
yes.
motherly love, brotherly love, all that type of love as well. So, so the idea behind the book is that reading something like poetry will help people creative in their own endeavors.
Okay.
So the same way, if we want to go to the gym to get fit or want to do something like that, then we have to start. We have to do a little bit each day.
That's right.
And so I feel like creativity is the same way. If we want to be creative and be able to generate creative ideas, then we have to feed our minds with creative thoughts. So that's the idea behind the book.
That's beautiful.
Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
Creative. Oh, wow. Feeding your mind. That's where it starts. The battle starts within the mind.
Yes, absolutely.
You got to be changed. You got to start somewhere for change to take place.
Yes.
I love that. I know that you have been embarking on something that is spectacular, something that is in the works. Could you tell the audience a little something about what's getting ready to take place in Justin Patton's life that's going to change the world?
Sure. So I have a new book coming out. It's going to be a collection of essays.
Oh,
I'm still putting the finishing touches on it, so
okay.
I don't want to I don't want to give too much, but
Sure, I respect that.
I'm inspired by writers like Langston Hughes, James Baldwin,
Okay.
people that not only wrote poems and songs and things like that, but also like essays, just stuff that inspires people to think.
Okay.
And so that's kind of the idea behind this, to inspire people to think through these times, and kind of a perspective of what went on during the pandemic. So for someone who reads this book 20 years from now, it'll pretty much be a time capsule for them, and they'll be able to see what issues that we were dealing with as America and Black America, and the rest of the world. They'll be able to see what we'll be dealing with at this time. And of course, we have more shows. So, like I said, we want to increase. We want to make sure that poetry is something real to people, and not just something that they come here. I want to make it as practical for people as possible. So making sure that doing something like engaging in poetry can increase your emotional intelligence.
Awesome.
And identify, like we talked about, identify your emotions and better learn how to deal with them. Because at least for me, for the pandemic, that's one thing that I saw.
Okay.
A lot of people didn't know how to deal with their emotions. That's why we saw a lot of things we saw.
Yes.
I mean, even me and my wife and I came to a come to Jesus meeting, but the pandemic made us stronger because of it.
Made you stronger.
Yes. So it was good in that regard.
Okay. Did you do a lot of writing for soul therapy during the pandemic as well?
I did a lot of writing during that time. That was probably the first time in my life where I just had blocks of time. I didn't have to worry about going anywhere, going to the next thing, because we were all shut down.
We was.
Yeah,
we were shut down for a while. For a while.
So I know it was tough for a lot of people, losing jobs and all that. But but I think the silver lining was that it sat us all down.
Yes, it did. Justin, on that note, we get ready to close it out.
Okay.
I want to know a little bit more about your acting. Because you're doing some acting as well, right?
Yes. So, and I feel like it's just kind of a natural evolution from poetry, from performing, from the spoken word. I've been performing. I've been doing live shows and doing videos as well that have story concepts. You can find those all on YouTube. And so I feel like the next progression with that was kind of acting. So I have a godmother who always sends me like casting calls and stuff like that.
Okay, awesome.
And so I started submitting for them, got booked a couple of times, and
great.
And so I've been on set. I should be in a few things coming out that can't announce right now, but it'll definitely be in the near future. So I'm excited about that.
So the world, you guys will be seeing more of Justin Patton. He will be in some films and on the silver screen.
Yes.
He can't reveal what it is. We respect that. But there's more to come with Mr. Justin Patton.
Absolutely.
And I'm so thrilled and I'm so happy that you was able to be our guest today on the show.
I'm happy you had me. Thanks so much, Alicia.
You're welcome. And audience, I want you to know that you can change your life and change your community. It starts with you. Please tune in again every Wednesday at 6 p.m. Walk the walk, talk the talk, be the change.